Somewhere in Italy, we see a dead animal in the middle of a road that passes through a forest. It is disregarded by a group of young women passing through the area. They are quite excited, listening to party music and using illicit substances. They are happy to enjoy the moment. The driver is named Sarah, and seeing her friends in the back seat caressing each other makes her uncomfortable, as she feels attracted to one of them. Soon, she starts to sway the vehicle, interrupting the fun of the two. She then begins to accelerate the car on the winding road, and even with her friends asking her to slow down, she doesn't listen and only tells them to enjoy the ride. In the back seat, the friends return to caressing each other, and one of them unbuckles her seatbelt. The romantic moment catches Sarah's attention, and she becomes distracted. Unfortunately, she veers into oncoming traffic when suddenly, a vehicle appears suddenly around the curve and collides with them. Soon the accident is inevitable. The scene was a memory of Sarah, who wakes up in the early morning, startled as she recalls that tragic night. She feels a suffocating anguish and takes medication to try to control her anxiety after losing one of her friends 2 years ago. After calming down, Sarah gets up and looks at photos of her friends, whom she misses dearly. That morning, she has been invited by her old friends for an outing. They are Emma, her driver partner Charlie, and his brother named Mike. Emma is very happy to see her friend again, and a tight hug to cease the longing is inevitable. The group sets off for the outing, and the plan is to go to a region in the Italian mountains where they plan to hike on the trails. Inside the car, Sarah discovers that Emma and Charlie are engaged and are a fun and lively couple. When questioned about her freedom, Sarah explains that her social discipline still extends for 2 more years, and that she has to wear an electronic bracelet to prevent her from escaping the country. This does not make her sad, as she regretfully accepted to pay for the mistake she made years ago. Emma shares that they will meet Miria, the friend who lost her partner in the accident and whom Sarah felt attracted to. She becomes nervously anxious upon hearing the young woman's name, believing that Miria will not accept her on the outing. However, seeing her friend's concern, Emma comforts her, saying that Miria claimed that everything is fine with her presence, but will bring her new partner Taya. After this revelation, the mood between the group becomes lukewarm, and Sarah tries to hold back her emotions. Several kilometers ahead, they meet Miria's vehicle and continue to their destination. Hours later, the group arrives near their destination and stops their cars to hug and reunite. Sarah feels apprehensive about talking to Miria, but the conversation and introduction are something she cannot avoid. After this moment, they grab their things and weapons and move on, entering the dense forest ahead. The region is mountainous, wide, and with much unknown area to explore, but the adventure for the group of young people will be incredible. Not far into the woods, they realize that there is no cell phone signal there, so in case of any unforeseen events, the only solution is to return. This situation becomes the start for part of the group to play with Taya, since she has never done that, and Charlie adds that situations like this usually do not go as they expect. The playfulness helps them relax, and the adventure continues. Minutes later, somewhere in the forest, they come across the body of a completely mangled animal, and at that moment they assert that the weapons may be necessary, as there are fierce wolves in the area. After the horrible sight of the animal, Taya questions the group if continuing won't be dangerous, but Emma asserts that such beasts do not approach humans in packs. The group continues talking about their childhood and also about shooting techniques they practiced. Further ahead, they head to a waterfall and enjoy the beautiful nature and the wonderful moment they are experiencing. Minutes later, they continue their walk, and when Taya goes to pick a flower, Sarah interrupts her, asserting that they are poisonous. She thanks her and walks away. Soon after, Miria approaches her old friend just to show off with her new partner. Hours pass, and the atmosphere of the forest grows darker and darker. The group finally arrives at their destination, a place in ruins, probably abandoned by an ancient people. It might be some sort of Roman prison. They enter what seems to be a cave, which is claustrophobic for Emma. The young people curiously enter and observe the macabre details. There are books and human bones at the entrance. While the others explore the dark place, Sarah checks the finds on the ground and, looking around, ends up finding a diary hidden among the stones. Picking it up and opening it, she finds the phrase "Confessions of a Murderer," and the year written shows that it is from 1917. As she reads, Sarah exposes the words of the writer, a soldier, who says he is tired of participating in wars and the shedding of blood, and does not care for those who see him as a deserter. He decided to isolate himself in a desolate place, to hide from his evil self and to become a good person seeking redemption. This attracts Sarah's attention, more curious about the story than her friends, who only want to continue the adventure and perhaps even hunt boars in the region. After setting the diary aside, Sarah joins the hunt with her friend. She heads armed in one direction, straying a little from the others, and barely sees anything around her, just fog filling part of the dense forest. Suddenly, she hears branches breaking and believes it could be the prey approaching. When she steps on the wet ground, she notices a large footprint, but does not care about the fact that it could be from a beast. She continues walking ahead when she hears a gunshot. She stays alert and points her weapon towards the sound, believing that her friends are driving the animal toward her. Upon hearing and seeing movement in the vegetation, she fires a few times and hears what appears to be a growl. She does not hit the game, but ends up in a poor location for a hunter. She nervously looks around and decides to run back to her friends, but ends up tripping and falling to the ground. When she gets up, she can't identify the trail back to her friends. Suddenly, she hears several unusual shots from a hunter and becomes fearful as she has no answers when she calls out to the others. Scared, Sarah ends up entering a small path between two rocks and only finds dismembered animals among the dry leaves. She continues and enters what appears to be a sanctuary, where in the center there is a statuette of a man with a wolf mask. Just when she was about to take the mask off, Miria suddenly appears and scares her. She ends up taking the cover off the statue's face and puts it on her own face, howling as if she were a wolf. This gesture may be a disrespect to the place, and a cold, dark feeling emerges from a nearby cave. The light-hearted moment quickly becomes uncomfortable, as Sarah apologizes again to Miria, but the young woman does not want to hear her talk about her old companion. Fortunately, the group is safe, and they soon regroup. The night of the full moon arrives, and they enjoy the hunted meal. Around the campfire, the group discusses the artifact found, and whether it might have something related to some culture, or even have a connection to some ancient curse. All this does not bother the curiosity of the others, except Sarah, who is still fixated on the diary she found. For Miria, she just wishes to carry the artifact into town and take attractive photos for her own desire. Later, as the friends have fun dancing, Sarah continues reading the find and discovers that the man in the story recounts that he traveled through many lands until he reached the ultimate point of his journey, wanting to distance himself from what society imposed on him. However, upon arriving in that region, he describes something dark inhabiting that place, and voices like whispers echo in his ears, which disturb him daily. Sarah hears branches breaking and looks with her flashlight, but sees nothing. Suddenly, Taya passes by her crying and drifts further into the forest. She stays away from her friends for a while, but doesn't take long to hear the same noise Sarah heard. She freezes and observes the fog around her. Suddenly, something swift emerges from the mist and drags the young woman. Seeing that her friend is taking too long, Sarah alerts the others, and this begins to worry them. Quickly, the friends arm themselves and go in search of their friend. Taya no longer responds to the group's calls, and Mike soon finds the missing girl's bottle with a tuft of animal hair. Scared by the young woman's disappearance, they find themselves without what to do in the darkness. They return to camp and grab their things, then set off to search for Taya. Attentively, they walk through the dark, with their weapons drawn in case they encounter a wolf beast. Not far from the ruins, they find their friend's shoe covered in blood and marks on the ground from something dragged. Following the trail, they unfortunately find their friend brutally dead, something that leaves them in disbelief at the terrifying scene. The situation begins to panic them. Mike tries to think of something, but suddenly he becomes the next victim and is dragged into the darkness. Howls and fierce growls echo through the forest. Soon Charlie follows in the direction of the attack. Sadly, a few meters ahead, he finds his brother badly injured on the verge of succumbing to his grave wounds. There is nothing to be done to save Mike, and he dies. Sadness overwhelms the group, but hearing a growl nearby, they raise their weapons and search for the beast that attacked them. Seeing that the beast is not a wolf, they fire several times in the direction of the movements in the dark underbrush, but unfortunately, they do not hit anything. Then an alpha howl echoes, and soon more beasts howl in response. Fearing for their lives, the remaining few run for shelter and hide beneath a fallen tree trunk and rocks. They remain paralyzed, waiting for the beast that tries to sniff them out to leave. Luckily, the beast smells a poisonous flower and moves away from there. After the beast's departure, the group questions whether that is really a wolf. On the other hand, the furious Miria only wants the beast's head as a symbol of revenge for the death of her companion. Charlie agrees to make a hunting plan, which seems foolish to Sarah, as the beast killed two of them without even showing itself, so quickly that their eyes didn't witness the attack. Emma agrees with the two but asks them to wait until dawn. Later, Charlie asks Sarah to rest and leave the guard to him. In the early morning, the women wake up and discover that Charlie is not with them and there is no sign of them nearby. Knowing that he went to hunt the beast alone, Miria decides to go after him, and her companion Emma joins her. Elsewhere, we see Charlie with a dead deer, preparing it for a trap. After everything is ready, he waits for the beast to appear. Back with Miria, she cries lamenting the loss of her friend, but suddenly she hears incomprehensible whispers, and for a moment notices they come from the mask she is carrying. Meanwhile, Sarah takes her medication and becomes afraid of being in such a situation. When she gets up to move on alone, she observes the diary fallen on the ground, open to the page showing the mask. This frightens her, knowing that everything they are experiencing is linked to the mask found. Back to Charlie, he hides in the vegetation and soon comes face to face with the macabre creature approaching the prey. It resembles nothing of a wolf and appears more like a werewolf. The beast sniffs the dead animal but realizes it is a trap. The hunter shoots, but the beast quickly disappears from his view. He stands up and looks around, but sees nothing in the darkness. Charlie notices that he hit the beast, but when his friends approach him, he becomes inattentive and unfortunately becomes the prey and is brutally attacked. Miria and Emma fire at the beast, but the shots do not fatally hit it. Furiously, the werewolf leaves its victim on the ground and goes to attack them. Fortunately, a precise shot hits the beast's head, rendering it unconscious. Luckily for them, Sarah decided to help them and arrived in time. Unfortunately, Charlie was brutally killed, which leaves Emma heartbroken. As she approaches the beast, Sarah realizes that the shot did not kill the beast, and it is regaining consciousness. Startled, she and Miria slowly back away and urge everyone to run. It doesn't take long for the beast to open its eyes and howl ferociously. The women run through the fog in the forest and enter the unknown cave, where they catch their breath. They hear the creatures growl outside and decide not to leave. Instead, they go further into the cave, using fire torches to light their path. Deeper into the area, they find paintings on the walls depicting the ruins where they camped. A human wearing the wolf mask, and a warrior from a tribe stabbing a spear into what seems to be the beast they just faced. One of them shows the beast holding the mask that Miria carries. At this moment, Sarah recounts what is written on the page in the diary of the unknown. He says that one night he was wounded by a quick shadow. Something similar to a wolf attacked him amidst the fog in the forest and ripped part of his finger. The ammunition in his gun ran out, and fearing the worst, he locked himself in the prison. There, wounded and reflecting on his situation, he realized that everything strange, like the voices and the attack against himself, started after he found and took the mask. These were his last writings. Miria, at this moment, is haunted, for if it is a curse, everything is her fault. However, she becomes furious, as with the diary in hand, Sarah did not tell them anything, but she defends herself, stating that she had not fully read the book. Sarah does not like the accusations, and they enter into a dispute. Emma asks them to stop, saying they must face the beast that is hunting them. Then Sarah, calmer, reveals that the beast is not hungry. It is only hunting them to get back the mask. She declares that they need to return the artifact to where they took it. Miria does not like the idea. Besides it being dangerous to go out, she wants the cursed object for herself. What she truly desires is to have the beast's head as a souvenir and reminder of her revenge. When questioned if she has the mask, she replies that no. The beast growls nearby, and fearing they are cornered inside, the trio keeps running deeper into the tunnels of the cave. Not long after, the girls find an exit, but realize that the beast is already inside the dark cave, and its location is unknown. Suddenly, the werewolf creature surprises Emma and nearly attacks her, but thankfully her friends shoot at the monstrosity. The beast decides to attack and chases after Sarah, while her friends run for the exit. It doesn't take long for the werewolf to come face to face with Sarah. As she trips and falls, she finds herself cornered against the wall, but the beast only seeks the mask. Not finding it, it does not attack her and goes in search of the other two who are already in the forest. Knowing that Miria has what belongs to it, the beast attacks only her, and when it is about to kill her, Emma shoots and attracts its attention. Unfortunately, without meaning to, she ends up giving her life to save her friend, and the beast attacks her mercilessly. Miria, terrified, leaves her backpack behind and continues running. However, it doesn't take long for the beast to surprise her and leave her injured before it departs. After the werewolf leaves, the young woman sees the flowers that contain poison and gets a clever idea. Back to Sarah, she exits the cave and searches for her friends and laments upon seeing Emma dead. A little further ahead, she picks up Miria's backpack and finds the mask. Soon after, she comes face to face with the werewolf, growling with fury and anger, conveying through its gaze what it wants her to do. Knowing what she has to do, Sarah lowers her weapon, takes the artifact, and approaches the beast to hand it over. The werewolf then gently approaches and takes the mask, and in the gesture, Sarah notices that the beast is missing a finger, and it is where she discovers that the man from the diary became the beast. The moment seems to be one of peace and resolution, but suddenly the beast is struck by a shot. This time the bullet was coated with poison from Miria, which weakens the creature, causing it to fall to the ground and finally die. Happy with the achievement, she approaches and takes the mask for herself again, and once more takes photos for her fame. However, this infuriates Sarah, who without a second thought, punches her companion. She hears whispers coming from the mask, and then starts a physical confrontation with her old friend. They exchange punches until Sarah gains the upper hand. She is on top of Miria, and even though the woman struggles, pleading for her to stop as if possessed by something, Sarah does not cease her attack and ultimately suffocates Miria to death. After being alone with everyone around her dead, she returns to the cave, writes something in the diary, and then hides the book. She then heads to the waterfall, leaves her medication aside, puts on the mask, and enters the waters of the waterfall, following the direction from the drawing she saw in the cave. She bathes with the mask on during the full moon night, and when she emerges from the water, she becomes what she once feared,